another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast. My name is Derek Montoya. Of course, you guys know I am your mayor of the city of Phoenix. This man is once again Mr. Electric. He had a good night's sleep. It's Shawn. And of course, no, I feel like you're energetic today. At least you rebounded nicely from the loss last night. Yeah. Of course, he never needs to rebound from the loss. It's Jesse the Mainstay over there, Jesse Fried.
Wow, I thought Merrill Kelly was the mainstay.
Well, Merrill Kelly is the mainstay. You're the mainstay of this podcast, that's for sure. People look to you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have ditched me multiple times in the last 10 days.
Oh, well, ditch you again.
I am sort of literally the mainstay of the podcast.
I mean, come on, this guy. I went to Seattle and hiked into heaven and took pictures while I was there. Get out of here.
Hey, at least I wasn't on vacation.
Yeah.
I was getting work.
He wasn't hanging out with Mike Tyson at Comic-Con.
Who would do that?
Yeah. Let me pick up that name I dropped real fast. Speaking of which, Merrill Kelly is back. And he is back. We knew he was going to be back in the lineup, but it's official. He is back in the lineup for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Not back in the lineup. He's back in the starting rotation. He'll be back on the mound
He's hitting
today.
Cleanup tonight.
He's hitting cleanup. He's DHing. No, Merrill Kelly is back. He will start for the Diamondbacks today against the St. Louis Cardinals. And I don't know if there is a better guy to see on the mound today than Merrill Kelly. Not only is it great for him to return, but Merrill has just really been incredible this season when the Diamondbacks were kind of lost like they are right now. He was the guy that was always able to get them back on track. So hopefully he can do that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Merrill Kelly in 16 starts this year has a 3.22 ERA, a 1.14 whip, 98 strikeouts in 95 innings. When he went down with the injury, both he and Zach Gallen were having almost identical seasons, really. Those two guys were very much carrying this Diamondbacks pitching staff. And without Merrill Kelly, I mean, it was obviously an enormous loss for the Diamondbacks. They really didn't have a great way of filling that spot in the rotation. So this is a huge get for the Diamondbacks, getting Merrill Kelly back. And, hopefully he looks a lot like the guy that we saw earlier in the season when we were having conversations about, are Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly the best starting pitching duo in baseball or in the National League? It wasn't that long ago that we were having those conversations.
Seems like 84 years ago is what it seems like at this point. But yeah, no, absolutely. He and like we said, we've seen over time how good he has been after a loss. We've seen how good he has been just at times where the Diamondbacks just needed someone to go out there and give them a good outing. But mostly it's just good health-wise because Merrill Kelly was facing a pretty serious, it's a serious health condition. And when you've had more than one blood clot, it's something that you need to start obviously being careful about. And, it's just good that he was able to take care of that, especially before getting on a flight and potentially, having things turn for the worse. But now with this starting rotation, having Merrill Kelly back and Brandon Pfaadt being added to it, Zach Davies not currently being a part of it, forget the trade deadline. Can this rotation get us to the playoffs?
Get them to the playoffs?
Can it get them to the playoffs? Can that rotation, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Brandon Pfaadt, Tommy Henry, Ryan Nelson?
I think he can get them to the playoffs. I don't think it makes them any kind of threat in the playoffs. I'm not putting money on them to win the World Series with that rotation. But I think he can get them. It got them to a playoff spot in the first half of the year. They were clearly playing very good baseball when the rotation was completely healthy. So I think he definitely get them to the playoffs, but it doesn't really make me feel good about their chances of doing anything in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably like to not find out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Let's hope we never have to know that, right?
You'd like to not have to think about that, and maybe the D-backs are adding a starting pitcher at some point in the next week. But it all depends on Brandon Pfaadt for me. I think at this point, Ryan Nelson and Tommy Henry, they're not great, but they're serviceable major league starters. You can get by with them. You're
going to get a really good outing out of them every once in a while, and then for the most part, at least they're giving you a chance to win. I don't know if Ryan Nelson did that yesterday, but he did do enough for the Diamondbacks to have a lead in that game.
Yeah, he did give them a chance to win yesterday, even though he obviously didn't have his best stuff. So a lot of it does depend on Brandon Pfaadt and what kind of pitcher he is going to be moving forward. The man has an ERA over 8, despite what he did in his last start against Cincinnati. So I think there still are very much some unanswered questions there, even though he bounced back nicely in his last start.
Jeff Passan had a story today where he discussed some trade deadline needs for teams, and he did bring up the Arizona Diamondbacks. He said another surprise NL contender to watch Arizona isn't being shy about its needs. The Diamondbacks want pitching of all manner and variety, with Giolito or Montgomery both good fits. And those are both guys that we've talked about as far as our trade deadline targets. So what do you think? I mean, I feel like when Jeff Passan tweets something, it's way more reasonable than some of this other things that we've discussed.
I was talking to Jesse about this before the show. If I break my back, don't expect me to be doing anything. I'm not coming in working if I have a broken back.
Yeah.
Like I'm not showing up. So don't expect. Yeah, I don't know why he's still out here writing articles and tweeting and stuff.
Well, because this man's a machine and he doesn't stop.
I am not
the
like
man
that.
Doesn't stop.
I am not built
Are his
like
fingers
that.
broken? No.
I guess. Like you can come up with trades from your bed all you want. I'm just not like that. I'm not. I got a broken
back. If his
back.
check was hitting your account, you'd be doing it.
But his check gonna be hitting regardless. Is my point. Like I mean, you got a broken back, dog. Anyways. What were we talking about?
I don't know, but we wish the best to Jeff Passan because he's one of the best dudes in baseball. So even though we really didn't talk about that much, that is a thing that happened. But Jesse, any surprises there? Like that Giolito or Montgomery would be a good fit for this team, especially what it will take to get them?
No, not really. I mean, not that the Diamondbacks would at least have checked in on those names. We already heard from John Morosi the other day that they checked in on Lucas Giolito. I don't know if Jeff Passan is necessarily intending on reporting that the Diamondbacks have checked in on these guys, or more just kind of speculating that they would be good fits. But I think it's pretty clear that like the names we have in our heads are probably names the Diamondbacks have at least had come across their desks at some point. They're casting most likely a much wider net than we are. So. Both of those guys make a lot of sense. I know a lot of people in the chat and on Twitter have talked about a Jordan Hicks, Jordan Montgomery package from the St. Louis Cardinals. Maybe the D-backs try to put something together where they get both of those guys. We've also talked about Jack Flaherty as well on that team. There's a number of trade targets from St. Louis. But yeah, I mean, how the Diamondbacks play this is the final week, right? The trade deadline is a week from today.
Correct.
Pretty much a week from like right now, I believe, as we're starting the show. So the D-backs need to stay afloat here over the next week in order to put themselves in position to add.
I don't know. I think that the one thing that we're going to be asked and the one question we're going to have is, again, if the Diamondbacks don't do something, is this a white flag? Is this the end, of the season for them? I don't know if that's the case. And I mean, a few weeks back, Mike Hazen kind of walked some of his aggressive comments about the trade deadline back a bit. And he said, it seemed like it was going to be a bit tougher and that the cost was going to be high. And honestly, I think the one thing that a lot of people should consider if this team doesn't make a huge splash at the deadline is that at the end of the day, was that move going to be enough to put them into playoff contention? And what was it going to cost them, right? I mean, I don't think anybody that's a fan of this team wants to see them mortgage the future, right? But meanwhile, when we put out things like our Dylan Cease trade proposal, we have people from both sides, the Chicago White Sox side and the Diamondback side, both telling us we're crazy.
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks fans telling us we're insane for including that much in a trade package for Cease, and White Sox fans saying, if fucking Jordan Lawler isn't part of this, go fuck yourself, right? Like, so
I knew it was only a matter of time before some White Sox fans found
they found
trade.
it. Yeah, I blame the CHGO guys. It's your fault. We know what you're doing up there. But definitely. I mean, and of course, we've been kind of picking on a lot of the White Sox guys because of their season and because of the contracts they have, availability of guys. I don't know. The White Sox is one of those teams that I don't know if they're going to really sell off as much as some of us are expecting them to, or some people are expecting them to. But I feel like if the return is big enough for that franchise, they're willing to hear any offer at this point, right? Yeah. I mean, the Diamondbacks did that a little while ago. They got a lot of trades. They got a lot of trade picks. And I mean, Mike Hazen was able to turn this farm system around from being one of the worst in baseball to being one of the best in like 2 seasons. So
I want to push back on one thing you said, though. I disagree that like if they don't do anything on the deadline, I do think it's a white flag. Like, I mean, this roster is clearly not good enough to be like, you know what teams you're going to have to beat to be able to do anything in the playoffs. Like if you don't do anything at the deadline, you're giving up on this being a productive season in that sense, I think.
I don't know, though. I mean, they are ahead of schedule. And when you take a look at what they might have to sacrifice in order to get some of these big players, is that one player that they get going to be enough?
I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive, right? Like I think like the reality is if you want to win this season, you have to make moves. It doesn't matter what the cost is. If your goal is winning, you have to make moves. But at the same time, yeah, like if like they are ahead of schedule, if they don't make moves, it's not like they have no interest in ever winning. But I think as far as this single season is concerned, if you don't make moves at the deadline, you have given up on accomplishing anything real this season as far as playoffs are concerned.
And see, yeah, no, we definitely disagree on that because the Diamondbacks have said like building internally through their organization is their focus, right?
Yeah.
And that includes this year. But it just, I mean, again, it's a weird thing where the idea here is that if the Diamondbacks make a move, they're instantly World Series contenders, and that's what I push back on.
Yeah,
I think that they have so many weaknesses at this point for them to make like one move and get one big name starting pitcher, and then that's enough to put them over the edge.
I do think like doing nothing is better than just going to get Jordan Hicks or something
and
like
mortging too much of the future.
No,
on that
I definitely agree with that. But I think at the same time, if you don't do anything, you are saying that this year we are not planning on trying to win a World Series. Right. So I think in that sense, it is a white flag, even if it is the smart decision. It is still like sometimes surrender is the right decision.
Well, Jesse has an article on gophnx.com where he talks about the impact that Mike Hazen has had in some of his trade moves. And that's the bigger thing is there's been a lot of swings and misses when it comes to Mike Hazen on trades.
There's been one enormous home run, which was JD Martinez.
Sure.
Outside of that trade, if you look back at the buy moves that Mike Hazen made in 2017 and 2018, almost all of them kind of a straight up disaster.
Yep.
Not that the Diamondbacks gave up a bunch to get these guys and they didn't get much in return. A lot of these guys just like came over to the Diamondbacks and like couldn't pitch anymore. Like Jake Diekman, like what happened to Jake Diekman in 2018? What happened to Matt Andriese in 2018?
Yeah.
These guys came over to the Diamondbacks and had ERAs of like 9 for the rest of the season. David Hernandez, similar situation. I believe that was back in 2017. Brad Ziegler is about the only bullpen arm that Mike Hazen has bought at a trade deadline that didn't immediately flop upon arriving to Arizona, and that's when he was like 38 years old.
Yeah,
back in 2018, his career ended shortly thereafter.
For the short period of time that he was around, but I mean, and when you take a look at Mike Hazen's moves that he's made that have been positive ones, a lot of them involve the farm system, younger guys, things like that. That almost seems to be more what his specialty is anyway. The Gabriel Moreno Lourdes Gurriel trade is probably one of the highlights of his career. Trading Dalton Varsho, who is still doing things for Toronto, but as you brought up when we were cheering him on last night against the Dodgers, hitting like 210 and not really as accomplished of a hitter as he was here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a guy that the Diamondbacks ended up getting quite the return for. One guy's an all-star, one guy's our future catcher, right? So it's like that trade is probably on the better end of it, but like, that's not a trade deadline. That's not a big move. That was more of a prospect for a current, kind of one of the best players on the Diamondbacks. Like as far as WAR went, he was one of the best players.
Hazen has not had a lot of good fortune in like if he were to go do, a Giolito trade or a Montgomery trade, like those short-term rental moves, those moves have not panned out for the Diamondbacks. And granted, there's not that many of them because Hazen was only in position to buy in 2017 and 2018. But yeah, to your point, where the D-backs have had success under Mike Hazen is kind of those bigger challenge trades. Like, we're going to give you Dalton Varsho for the next 4 seasons, but we're going to take back Gabby Moreno, for 6 years plus Lourdes Gurriel. Obviously, we don't really know how to evaluate that trade at this point. But like the Zach Gallen trade, back in 2019, that's another example of a deal that's worked for the D-backs. If they do go like the short-term rentals, if they go down that road, Mike Hazen doesn't have a great track record in that regard.
Speaking of the Gabriel Moreno trade that brought him here, Moreno is on the 10-day IL with left shoulder inflammation, even though there was some confusion on that with the media guide. Currently,
we weren't sure if it was his left shoulder or right shoulder. It is his left shoulder.
But currently undergoing treatment. No timetable for return yet. Jose Herrera, as we saw last night, has returned. And I think after seeing Jose Herrera last night, we might want to see a little bit more of Jose Herrera because he was quite good behind the plate for this team, and he saved that disastrous 9th inning from probably being even worse than it was. But Moreno suffered the injury on a BP swing roughly 10 days before the All-Star break, which really sucks. Torrey opted to not tell the media until now, even though he's been asked about where Gabby has been for a little while.
We've asked Torey Lovello about this a number of times over the last few weeks, and he's basically just said, no, Gabby's fine. We've had conversations on the show too about why the Diamondbacks are mysteriously using Carson Kelly more than half of the time when Torey was very upfront that with Carson in the fold, it would be kind of a 50-50 split between those guys. Now we find out the truth. There was actually an injury happening there all along.
So thoughts on that and the impact that could have going forward? Like, Carson does not look very good at the plate. And I mean, once again, I feel like Jose Herrera's value is very high for this team because we have another catcher injury, right? Like, Jose Herrera has kind of been a bit of a savior for this team, but I don't know, man. I want Carson to put it together, but after seeing him in yesterday's game, I think you said it, he just can't even catch up with the fastball.
Yeah, at times that's what it looks like. I know he's caught up with a few, but I mean, his OPS is like in the mid 400s at this point, which he's a catcher. You're not necessarily expecting a ton of offense from that position, but
a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I mean, Gabby had an OPS. I mean, he wasn't having an outstanding offensive season. His OPS was a little under 700, but there's a pretty big difference between like high 600s and like 450, which is, what the D-backs have gotten from Carson Kelly so far. And I know Jose Herrera was pretty decent offensively earlier in the year, but his track record is still a little bit incomplete offensively. Yeah. There's not much there to speak of for him either.
Any other updates on Dre Jameson, Jesse? Because I know that he had that second opinion on his UCL.
Yeah, apparently it was like a third opinion. He just keeps seeing. You might get a sixth opinion by the end of the week. I don't know.
I kind of like that. That's like that's very Dre Jameson. Like, I'm gonna fight.
I don't believe you.
I'm gonna fight this until I get the answer I want.
Yeah. So he, I think he's pretty much gotten all of the opinions he needs at this point. He has a UCL sprain. And so what Torey described yesterday is that he is trying to decide between a more conservative approach where he just takes some time off and, we see where he's at in a few months as he maybe starts a throwing program, or he just goes ahead and has surgery. I believe it would be Tommy John surgery, although there are some slight modifications, some different parts of that process. I don't know if it's exactly your traditional Tommy John surgery, but it is a UCL issue. So we'll see. It sounds like he's not necessarily in a huge rush to make that decision because whether he has the surgery right now or a month from now, he is not going to pitch in 2024. So he kind of has some time here to take his time, think it over, see what he wants to do. And hopefully we get to see Dre Jameson back as soon as possible.
I hate this, by the way. I hate the idea of it being like, take some time off and wait and whatever, because I feel like ultimately
the track record there isn't great.
Yeah. Ultimately what we see, even if they do take time off, is that a re-aggravation of an injury like this and the surgery be necessary anyway. Dre's a young guy. I think that we've gotten to a point where Tommy John surgery isn't as career threatening as it once was. Yeah. But it's still not a guarantee that you're able to bounce back from a surgery like that. So just wishing the best to Dre Jameson and knowing, letting everyone know that this situation puts fire in our blood, of course. But make sure, if you haven't done so already, that you guys download and get down on the BetMGM app. You can get down on Nerfy Fridays every Friday. All you have to be is an existing BetMGM sports user. And to opt into this promotion, you just have to opt into the promotion. Make sure you find that in the BetMGM app. Opt in and then place a no-run first inning bet on any MLB game on a Friday. That's by betting no on the will there be a run in the first inning market. If your bet loses, but only one run is scored during the first inning, you will receive a bonus bet back, equaling your stake up to $25. Again, this is available only on Fridays. If you haven't signed up for the BetMGM app yet, use bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live. But for our Arizona audience, place your first bet offer and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if it loses with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 Nevada. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Kansas, Nevada, New York, or Ontario.
Well, we thank you guys for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our shows go live. Leave us a little thumbs up just for our own personal self-esteem. If you're listening on the audio podcasting side, leave us a review there and subscribe as well there. We always appreciate the feedback, and we always appreciate you guys listening however you can. Tonight is our takeover event of Chase Field. We are taking over Chase Field out there in left field. We have only a few tickets left, so if you haven't purchased those tickets yet, get down on that immediately. We'll be meeting at Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers tonight. Food will be served around 5:15 p.m., so make sure you join us. We're going to have some food, all you can drink over there at Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, and then we are what is happening over there?
Figure it out.
Figure it out. Anyway, we are going to have a good time, and it's stuff like this, like crazy people yelling stuff. I think that was Mac. But anyway,
Mac with the most dramatic ass sneeze for no
I
reason.
think that was a
It was literally just like, if you want attention, just come out here
just
and
come
talk
out
to
here
us.
and get on the show and just sneeze on the show.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. You didn't have to sneeze like a cartoon character.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, sneezes just interrupting and derailing shows around here. I love this place. If you haven't gotten the ticket for a takeover event, grab one now. Again, we're going to be in left field, Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers. If you're a diehard member, you get a discount on that event. So you can sign up over at GoPHNX to become a diehard member. You will get discounts on events just like this one. You also get access to our members-only Discord lounge. You will get Jesse's newsletter full count. You get a free piece of merchandise from the PHNXlocker.com, 20% off all future purchases, and so much more, including benefits from our partners, like a $50 gift certificate from Mountain Mike's. You got a Dobson Ranch card. You got, of course, all sorts of wonderful discounts with them, as well as members-only merchandise and so much more. So join us over at GoPHNX.com. Become a member of the family today. I know it's not Monday, but we still do that thing around here. We're not going to abandon our gimmick and let all of these other goddamn shows around here steal our thing. First of all, they all have to pay me $5 when they play this song. Each one of them has to pay me $5 for every time they play the song. And of course, what they don't know is, even though this is actually Shark Week, every goddamn week on this show is Shark Week, just like every day on this show is Earth Day, and every Monday, well, not every Monday, but most Mondays, we go to the mailbag.
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox, and then once in a while, there's a letter that makes me go, wow, wow, my mailbox. Always something.
All right, so it's Mailbag Tuesday, whatever. Jacob, what do we have over there? First question comes from Ernesto, and Ernesto asks, how do we fix this bullpen that has been at times bad every time we lead? Yeah, and that's kind of the gist of it, right? Like, we've kind of joked, but when there's no pressure on the line, they'll come in and be lights out. But when we have a lead, this bullpen can't seem to keep things scoreless. We talked about it last night, but there have been 17 consecutive games where the bullpen has allowed one earned run or more. And as Jesse will quickly point out, most of the time it's more. But what do we do to fix this bullpen? Is there anything that you can do right now with the current guys? Do we just get rid of all of them and start over with an entirely new roster? What do we do with this bullpen?
I mean, I feel like if we had an answer to that, we'd be
fix it, Shawn.
Joe. We'd be the GM.
Fix it.
Do
it. Okay, well, I guess, all right, let's ask this question then. I mean, is the only way to fix the bullpen through a trade? Do you think right now is that the point that we're at?
If you're the Diamondbacks, I think, yeah, like trading for David Bednar would be a good start. Yeah. Right? I mean, like trading for Paul Sewald, like that would probably move the needle a little bit.
You're just giving the people what they want right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
Shohei Ohtani.
What the people want is kind of what the Diamondbacks need, frankly.
Yeah.
Like there aren't really any other great options for this team other than paying probably an outrageous price for one of those established back-end relievers. The Diamondbacks have not really had any success developing them internally. That's ultimately what I think Mike Hazen would like to do, is have their own David Bednars coming up through the system, but that hasn't really happened. And the one guy like that the D-backs had, in Joan Duran, they traded for Eduardo Escobar a few years ago, right? And he was still at the lower levels of the minors at the time, so it was hard to know exactly what he was going to turn into. So, yeah, I think if you're the D-backs and you really want to solve this problem, you're probably just going to have to stomach paying a really hefty price for one of those established relievers who maybe could be here for the next few years and, solve this problem maybe for the next few years. Because what the Diamondbacks have done is they've gone basically year to year and tried to build the bullpen back up every offseason. It's just really hard to do that when you're only spending, $4 million a year or so on one-year deals, or, a one-year deal with a mutual option or whatever. They've signed some guys this year that have been all right. Like Andrew Chafin's been all right. Miguel Castro's been all right in the grand scheme of things, but they're just not really solving the problem.
The Dodgers just made a trade.
I'm so disappointed in you guys. I don't care about what the Dodgers do right now, because the idea
we kind of care. Like what kind of trade?
They got Kike.
Oh, interesting.
Let's let Shawn have a moment here. You all right? You're not going to be all right. Yeah, he's not going to be all right. We shouldn't be all right. God damn it. All right. Anyway,
it's a reunion.
I hate everything about that.
Yeah. I can't believe you guys are overlooking the fact that the answer is currently within the Diamondbacks organization, and that answer is calling Josh Rojas up to the bullpen, obviously.
Yes.
That is the obvious answer, and
I
I can't believe you guys are not even considering that as an answer to this problem. But
Kike Hernandez is not having a good season. He has a 599 OPS.
Let's hope he continues.
Which inevitably means he'll come
to
to the
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
It is the Dodgers. So
he's hit 900, and I don't mean OPS. I mean batting average. That's what's going to happen now that he's a Dodger.
I'm just tired of Red Sox going to the goddamn Dodgers.
Yeah, the Red Sox just need to have a not trading with the Dodgers.
I'm sick and tired of it.
Yeah. Anyway, what else we got? Next question comes from Albert, and Albert on Twitter asks, with the implementation of the DH in the NL, as well as the balanced schedule, should there just be one set of awards for all MLB rather than one for each league? What do you guys think?
I personally say no. Let me sit my ass back. I personally say no just because I like it. And I mean, like, that's what they do in the NFL. And the schedule's not really balanced still. Like, you're still playing your division more than anybody else. So, like, you're still playing majority games within your league.
Yeah. And the other, you have conferences, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly. Like this is how it's kind of how most leagues work. I mean, I guess with the exception of the NBA, really is the only one. Or no, the NHL too. I guess so. It's half and half.
But we still have like a league MVP, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's how the playoffs are divided. Plus it's just, this is baseball. There's history. Like, unlike most of these other leagues, it was two distinct baseball organizations that joined forces. So, like, it's a little bit different. Obviously, baseball is, the history is more important to baseball than it is any other sport, I would say. So, I mean, like, it didn't really matter to me, to be quite honest, but like I would lean on the side of keeping it.
I think it's insane now that we're at this point to look back on the fact that at one point one league played with different rules.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, no, we have a guy that hits for our pitcher. No, our pitcher hits over here.
Well,
like,
and I mean, the craziest part is that you were a team that all year was like, yeah, our pitchers don't hit. We have someone to do that. And then you get to the World Series, it's like, oh yeah, now they're hitting.
You gotta hit. Yeah,
fucking figure it out,
guy. Figure it out.
Yeah, I think I would keep it as it is, but it is an interesting question. I guess there's some potential down the road where Major League Baseball becomes less like divisions oriented.
Yeah.
And maybe this is something that, like, some people think that they should just ditch divisions altogether and just do, the top 6 teams from the NL and the top 6 teams from the AL. Like, I think that's a pretty reasonable proposal. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're headed toward expansion. I think we're headed towards 8 14 divisions is really what I think we're headed towards, which probably wouldn't really change the situation. As far as
just give us 4 division leaders and then like 2 wild cards for the rest of the league to play for.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I would probably keep it as it is because baseball is just so division oriented, which obviously stems from there being the National League and the American League.
It just made so much more sense back in the day because playing 162 games and most of them against guys with your own division, and then just sometimes against other guys within your own league and never against teams in the other league, really decided who within your own division was the superior team.
Yeah.
It was a year-long playoff, but yeah, now that we've opened it up and now especially that they've changed the schedule to not play the divisions as much anymore, I really don't feel like divisions should matter as much as they do.
Yeah.
But like
it is a little weird. Like, baseball has 2 MVPs. Like, that is a little weird.
Yeah.
You make a case that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Someone from the American League Central is getting a bye. Well, no, they wouldn't, right? They'd play the
No.
worst
No, they
wild
play
card
the-
team.
The best wild card team.
Best wild card team.
That would be really messed up.
That would be really messed up.
All right, what else we got, Jacob? Next question comes from Joey on Twitter, and Joey asks, is there any timeline on when Mark Melancon will return from injury? We do know that his original time frame was that he was supposed to return after the All-Star break. That's what we were told early on in the season, but apparently at some point he not re-injured but he had a setback.
Yeah, there was a setback. I don't think he's gonna pitch for a while. Wouldn't be totally shocked if he didn't pitch this season, but yeah, I think Tori spoke about this maybe about three weeks ago or so. Was the first update on Mark Melancon we'd heard the entire season, and he did have a bit of a setback. And as of right now, I'm not aware of any throwing programs or any kind of ramp up happening with him. We'll try to get some more answers there. But
Could you imagine Mark Melancon being the answer for this
No.
team?
that would be something.
I cannot. I cannot imagine that.
What's really wild is that, like, before last season started, we thought the Diamondbacks
That
had
was the
fixed their
answer.
closer problem
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Yeah.
When Mark Melancon was a 2-year deal, and he led the league in saves the year before he joined the Diamondbacks.
Correct.
And now he's like kind of
and they also got Ian
memory.
Kennedy, who was also a closer at the time. And
Yeah, the
wasn't very
D-backs had
bad
2
himself.
closers going into last season, and it didn't work then, and now they're not relying on either of those guys this year, and it's still not working now with the new guys they brought in.
See, this is the point we're trying to make. It doesn't matter who they get. If they bring David Bednar in here, he'll have an 8.67 ERA and be the worst fucking reliever in the league. We are cursed, damn it. Oh, God, I needed to just get that out. I feel better now.
Bednar is still like very much in the prime of his career.
Yeah.
Unlike
His baseball savant is
it's
lot of
pretty,
red.
It's pretty
a lot of
wild.
red.
Yeah. I feel like the D-backs just haven't really had relievers on that level. Like even Mark Melancon, when he came over, I think he had a 2.23 ERA or something like that with the Padres. His peripherals didn't really support that. Like he is not.
But he had some
was
good
not
defense
a David
behind him,
Bednar.
right? Melancon had
Sure.
some good defense with the Padres. That's not to say he didn't be with the Diamondbacks, but yeah, I have no idea what happened there. Just like we don't understand what happens with anybody.
Mark
It's just-
Melancon was just really old, right? Like there was always some risk when the D-backs brought him
Mhm.
over
Son
that
of
the
a
wheels
bitch.
were going to come off at the.
How dare you? What was he, 37 when they brought him over?
He's so
Oh.
old,
I
Derek.
found out I'm the same age as Elvis when he died. I'm not handling things well, folks. What else we got? Gabriel asked, a little less than a week to go. Are we buyers or sellers? And I think this is a lot of people have this question right now, especially with how bad things are going right now.
Yeah.
I don't think being sellers is part of the equation here.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
agree.
really just if the Diamondbacks are
Buyers or
able to make
stayers.
that trade, and if they're willing to make that trade. They have the assets to make a trade. They have the assets to bring in pretty much anybody that might be available at the trade deadline. It's not a question of assets. It's a question of how much are they willing to part with for whoever they might get in return. The biggest problem is that most of the names we've discussed have been rentals, and that's really kind of a silly situation to put yourself in. I think any Diamondbacks fan would agree. I think most of us are desperate to see this team figure out this bullpen problem, but at the same time, don't want to see them mortgaging their future like we have in the past for, a trade, and especially a short-term trade.
I think the D-backs are buyers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still in the playoff race. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what we talked about yesterday where, yes, they're faltering. Yes, it sort of feels like the wheels are coming off. But, like, what other team in this race are you really all that afraid of? Like, could the D-backs really not be better than the Reds in the second half? Like, obviously what we saw over the weekend wasn't great, but I think they could. I think the D-backs could be better than the Reds. I think they could be better than the Giants. I think
I think the Reds are going to
Marlins
win their
have really
division, to
struggled
be
lately.
honest. I don't think the Reds are really going to be a concern for the Diamondbacks at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're still 1.5 behind Milwaukee, but that's still very
but I mean,
possible.
if the Reds aren't, then the Brewers are, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, like he's saying, though, it comes down to like
None of these
matchups
teams
with
are
these
all that
teams.
scary.
Yeah.
I guess is
Like
what
I
I'm
said,
saying.
like I said last night, the only team that really scares me there is the Phillies, and they're not even in a wild
Yeah.
card spot right now.
right now.
Even like the Padres, almost are scarier down the stretch, in
Yeah.
my opinion, than like the Marlins, because the Padres
You just
have
never know when they can go off.
They
Yeah,
have a
right?
plus 48 run differential. Like, they're a much better team than their record shows, and they might actually add at the trade deadline. We don't really know exactly what they're going to do at this
They're
point.
going to end up trading for Shohei.
I don't know if the Padres have the pieces for
Yeah.
that. Like, their farm system is kind of depleted.
But
I
I
don't
got
know
the
if
money
I
to
see
sign him. Well, I don't know that they have the money to sign him, but they'll find it in the offseason.
No, the money's not there, but they'll still spend
figure
it.
out a way to get it anyways. Yeah, I mean,
and then we need to do Brett's idea of being in the division with the Rockies, the new Portland team,
And
the Las Vegas A's. And,
give us.
Yeah,
Give me
that division. I want
This
that
division, we would be the Dodgers of this division.
I would love to be in that
geographically
division.
makes zero sense.
That makes that's what I was going to
I
say.
mean, what you get because like you have
You're
the
putting-
Padres,
Basically just
Dodgers.
carved out California.
Well, no, but then
Other
who's
than
the
the
fourth
A's.
team in that division?
Or no,
Because you have the Padres, Dodgers, and the Giants at that point. And
How
then
do
you're
you
going to put in
geographically
the Angels.
explain getting
just an
the
all
Angels.
California
Okay,
division.
I guess, but like you're just going to be like, that flight from
What about Seattle?
from
You wanna put
Phoenix
Seattle?
to Portland makes no sense.
Could put Seattle in it.
Well, then they got to be NL then you're really messing up. With
Well, I
things.
mean, Houston did that.
yeah, but that's one team.
I don't care. I want this division. Put us in that division.
I
That's
would like
all
to
I
see
want.
it.
I think we're going. Let's see. Mo, our favorite Dodger troll, Mo says, "I like how all of you have given up any hope on winning the division. Go Dodgers! I hate you. I hate you, and I hope
I haven't
all
given
the
up
bad
any hope.
things. I hope all the bad things in the world happen to you and nobody but you, Mo. I hope that. And it's okay that I say that because I lived with him at one point in our lives, so that's fine. But I'll throw shade at Mo whenever I want to, just like I will throw shade at this team if they do not do anything at the trade deadline because something must be done. But remember, when you throw shade, you need to do it wearing a pair of Shady Rays. Shady Rays is gear built to last, premium polarized shades, and of course, if you live here in Arizona, there's absolutely zero reason why you shouldn't own a quality pair of sunglasses. It is a must in this state. The Shady Rays has durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. They also offer the most insane protection plan in all of eyewear. They're lost and broken replacement plan, not stolen. Well, if they're lost, they might have been stolen. You know that's the case. But lost and broken replacement plan. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. They have your back long after you make your order, and you can shop their entire collection at the brand new location at Kierland Commons. It's a full-stop shop for all things Shady Rays. Whether you shop in store, there's a lot of sounds there. Whether you shop in store or not, you can always exchange your Shady Rays for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. You know, buying stuff online can suck. I make sure now to find out the country of origin that I'm ordering my thing from before I decide on what size I'm going to get, because apparently I'm a 5X in Japan. That's not cool. But anyway, you can make sure that if you're shopping online, you can always return those sunglasses to Shady Rays and get yourself either a new pair or your money back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. And OGs, by the way, has a solution for all of life's problems, especially here in the summer. They have some relief for us during the heat. They bring their pink lemonade gummy now to the public, to us, for us to enjoy. They also have a wide variety of flavors, including their mixed bags. Their mixed bags have a mixed bag of either fruit flavors or cream flavors, and they are a wonderful variety for you to try. That way, if you're not particularly crazy about one flavor, you can find one that suits you very well. OG's has all sorts of flavors and all sorts of doses and strains to get you where you need to go, including their Aquaberry Sleep Edition, which helps you get the best sleep of your life. So make sure to check out OG's. They are flavoring life, and that is what they're all about. It makes it so easy with their wide range of flavors and functions. No matter what it is you need, OG's has a gummy for it. Check out OG's online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to purchase. And let's see, Marcos Valencia in the chat says Cody Bellinger at the deadline. Jesse, thoughts on Cody Bellinger at the deadline?
There will be some Cody
There
Bellinger
will be some
chatter
Cody
on the
Bellinger
show.
talk, yeah.
before
Cody
long.
Bellinger, I just saw a stat. He's like never bat over like 200 with 2 strikes in his life. He's always been like 1 something. And this year he's batting like 250 or something with.
He's had an insane few weeks here for the
Yeah,
Cubs.
He's hitting
a little
320 with
rebound.
an over 900 OPS right now.
I would take Cody Bellinger. I had better than watching him hit home runs for the Dodgers here.
We aren't going to stop until the entire city of Chicago hates us for trying to take all of their stars from both of their baseball teams. I'm just saying that now. But before we go on to more Mailbag Tuesday questions, want to give a shout out to More Furniture for always making us comfortable with their wide variety of furniture that they have. They brought it up to this all the way up to our suite here. That way we didn't have to carry anything with their white glove delivery service. You can get that too. Check out their website at morefurniture.com. They do have more than just Chase lounges. Don't listen to Jesse. They're not just a Chase lounge store. They also have
They're mostly
couches.
I mean,
As far as Jesse's
that's
concerned.
all he shops there for. But
when I
remember,
walk in, that's all I see. I don't know. I don't know
they're
what
like,
you
right
see.
this way,
No,
sir.
yeah, they walk in. They're like, "Can we help you, sir?" And he said, "I know where I'm going."
He's like, "Oh, that's Jesse Friedman." They kind of whisper about him behind his back. But make sure you get what you need for your home, especially with football season right around the corner. Everybody needs a good recliner for this time of the year. So make sure to check out morefurniture.com. You can save big on the best furniture in the valley when you head to morefurniture.com. And we got some more Mailbag Monday. I did it. Mailbag Tuesday questions. Let's go, Jacob. Words are hard for me today. Michael asks, is Alec Thomas the new Didi Gregorius? In that we know how good he is in the field, but wonder if the bat will catch up. Also, can we talk about how the fall league schedule is pretty much all night games? First, yes, fall league should be night games because, as you know, there is no fall in Arizona. There's just two seasons. It's summer and it's kind of spring. It gets a little cool in the spring, but that's all we got. So I'm fine with the night
Plus, you
games.
can go to them
that's
when
totally
they're night
fine.
games.
What's
I can't
that?
really be going to day games.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot harder to not be at work during the day than it is at night.
But it's so much more fun to ditch out on work and go to a day game.
That's valid.
right. But not when it's still 100 degrees out. We know in October it's still
I
going to
love
be
it.
100 degrees out.
I've said this before. The most like euphoric baseball experience I've ever had was going out to Surprise for a fall league game at night, and I felt like I was in the Field of Dreams. Like it felt like there was no world. Like the universe did not exist outside of the confines of that baseball park. The sky was like
You and the 600 people that were there were the only people on the planet.
Try six. There was nobody there. It was so quiet. The only sounds were the game. The sky was pitch black, not a star in the sky. It was such a specific, unique experience.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
I would think there
I
were probably
love
a
the
lot
fall.
of stars at the Field of Dreams, though.
No, light pollution.
Oh, you mean
At the Field of Dreams?
Light pollution?
Yes.
In
Iowa?
the middle of Iowa? There's not
When's the
enough
last time
people.
you were in Iowa?
Yeah, I mean, I was in Nebraska like a
prove
couple
him
weeks
wrong.
ago.
Nebraska's
Prove
not
him wrong.
Iowa.
It's
so.
right next to Iowa.
Cool.
Same stuff.
I'm not from. I've never been
is
to
all the
Vermont,
same over
but
there.
I'm from New York.
Jesse,
not how geography works.
Thoughts on the Didi Gregorius comparison when it comes to Geraldo? I mean, I don't know. Perdomo has been a little bit better at times with the bat in his hand. He is our wrist king. Let's not forget that.
I mean, I think we're talking about Alec Thomas, right?
Oh,
Is
was it Alec Thomas?
Alec
Oh,
Thomas,
duh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Alec
Honestly,
Thomas.
that's also kind of an interesting comparison.
Yeah, I
Perdomo
know. I just
and
went straight there,
Gregorius.
right? But Alec Thomas, yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Alec Thomas, he struggled with his bat, but I feel like ever since he got set down and came back up, he's at least been more consistent at the plate. And I don't know. He's not softly lining out to the right side every single time like he was there for a stretch.
Yeah, or like rolling over to the right side. That was sort of a big thing too. I think Alec Thomas came up with a little bit more of an offensive ceiling than Didi Gregorius. Gregorius was like, here's this great defensive shortstop where you have no idea if he's going to hit or not. And he kind of just like came up with the Diamondbacks and he sort of did hit for a while. He came up on a tear in, I believe it was 2013. He played his first games with the Diamondbacks at age 23, and he was a great hitter for a few weeks. And then it kind of tailed off the rest of the way. He finished that year with an OPS of 704. Came back the next year and didn't hit much. Came back the year after that and still didn't hit much. And then he was a New York Yankee at that point, and suddenly he found like 25 home run power all of a sudden. And I know Diamondbacks fans have not forgotten about that. But yeah, I see some sort of a comparison. They're both guys where you feel really great defensively, right up the middle, playing premium positions. I think Alec Thomas has a higher ceiling than Gregorius, or at least that's sort of how he's perceived now. Gregorius, I think, kind of surprised a lot of people by turning into the hitter that he was for a few years there. But yeah, I think there are some similarities for sure.
All right, what else we got there, Jacob? Next question comes from Kevin on Twitter, and Kevin asks, which PHNX podcast has the best intro music?
Not even a question.
Not a question.
It's PHNX Bets.
Yeah.
Not even close. We got the synth wave. Do we have the music on here?
Ooh.
Because it's not even close. I don't know if we have it on
I mean,
computer,
I've appeared on Bets
Wait,
quite a
yes.
few times, and
ready?
yeah, are we ready to roll it? Can we roll it?
The synth wave? Are you kidding me? It's not even close.
This goes
The drums
crazy.
come at some point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the drums make
The drums are the best part. Yeah.
That's the best part about it, is that the drums don't just kick in right away.
Then they come.
The drums make you anticipate when the drums.
This sounds like kind of like a vintage news report to me, like a newscast, like around 2006. Maybe?
That's no
Dude,
vintage.
what? It's like
I will
it's like
fight
the
you.
vibe. That's the
I will
vibe
fight
that
you
I get.
right here,
80s
right now.
synth wave.
This is a song from Real Genius from 1984 or something. This is
Now it has kind of a different vibe.
this is incredible. All right, yeah, there's your answer.
I feel like I'm in
Let's be
Tron.
honest. The real Michael says sounds like an 80s heel tag team entrance music. That is incredible. That's very FTR. This is a very
Let's go
FTR
crazy.
entrance music. We all know that the Mailbag Monday song, though, is the best song on this network, and there's no doubt.
Well,
or
to be
question.
fair, the Suns have a song written by Mega Ran as their intro. And
Yeah, I helped do that, and I
Yeah.
don't even have a song written by Mega Ran for me.
So the Suns,
I worked the guy's merch table this weekend, and I don't have a song written about me.
Suns give all the other shows a run for their money too. Betts is just so like I love that vibe, but as far as like actual music's concerned, I don't think it's particularly close to the Suns.
The Suns saxophone that they play after.
Ooh, after wins too. Yeah, sexy sax. Yeah,
Sexy
nice.
sax is
Yeah.
pretty good. All right. What else we got, Jacob? Logan asks, will this suffering ever end? I don't know, Logan. I don't know.
It all ends
I
eventually.
wish I could say yes, but I don't know.
It all ends eventually.
It ends tonight, right?
I
Merrill
mean-
Kelly is going to end the losing streak. That's for sure.
I mean, I went on a little bit of a rant about this last night. They win these next two, and the pain's over. Like everyone will forget, and everyone will be back excited about this team. And
Will we be a wagon again?
We'll be a wagon again. Like I mean, I
Thank God.
if the summer is gonna end, it's gonna end now. Like you got Mert and Gallon. It's go win baseball games, please.
Especially Gallon at home.
And then you got the
Especially
Giants
Gallon.
after, right? So like,
And they've been very bad.
they've
lately.
been very, very bad. So the suffering.
It's a
the suffering
resistible
doesn't end
force
soon.
versus a movable
Yeah.
object.
If
when
the
those two
suffering
get
doesn't
together.
end soon, it might never end. To answer your question,
Jesse, what do you think about the suffering? What are your thoughts on the suffering?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Diamondbacks are still in a really good spot despite what's happened over the last few weeks. And you know, if this is what suffering looks like in the 2023 season, being like actively in position to make the playoffs during it is a pretty good spot to be. I mean,
Stop being so
100%.
positive. I hate
as
you
far
so
as
much.
suffering goes, it's on the more tolerable
it's not
end of the spectrum. I would
This is
argue.
bad. I feel like I've suffered worse before, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Diamondbacks fans have been through far worse than this. So is
2021?
Is
Were
the
we not there
present
for that?
suffering going to end anytime soon? I guess we'll find out.
What was
That's about
their-
all I have to say there.
In 2021,
Yeah.
what was the record? There was the May record and then the June record. Which 2 months was it where it was like they won 6 games and then they won 5 games the
I think it
following
was May
month?
and June.
Yeah,
of
May and June.
2021.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they went like
It
They
could
won
be
11
worse.
games in
Something.
2 months.
It's pretty bad.
That's suffering. That's suffering. What else we got, Jim? Last question comes from Cogs, our only diehard to ever receive a King Snake Award. And Cogs asks, all right, y'all, we've all been waiting for this one. Barbie or Oppenheimer? Let's go. Jesse's definitely an Oppenheimer.
Yeah, that was going to be my. I mean, are we like? I haven't seen.
Yeah,
either
I haven't
of
seen
them. Is
either
that
of
what-
them.
is
None of
that-
us have seen it.
Okay, so we're just
Which
answering
one do
which
you want to
one-
see? I think that tells a lot about your personality.
Okay.
You're given a choice. There are 2 doors. One is black and metal. One is pink. And there's songs from the other side. And Michael Cera standing somewhere in the distance. Which door are you taking, Jesse?
I'm going the Oppenheimer.
I knew you
door,
were
for
going in
sure.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
So I have a fucking
absolutely.
question for me. I'm obviously a Barbie guy or a Barbie girl, however that song goes.
you're a Ken.
I'm a Ken.
I'm all in on Barbie. I want to see that thing so bad, but Oppenheimer is my kind of movie. I'm a little bit of a history nerd, so like
I think Christopher Nolan just makes really fascinating movies.
And
Christopher Nolan's an incredible
just I mean, the cast in that movie is incredible. It's supposed to be like visually, it's supposed to be incredible. Like Barbie's dope, but I mean, it's either the Barbie movie does too much and I'm not gonna like it, or the Barbie movie does what it's supposed to do, which is not going to be all that much, and I'm going to enjoy it because it's like mindless fun, but it's not going to be like a good movie necessarily.
You're both wrong. It's Barbie. Barbie's the answer.
I'm
Barbie
so
is
excited
the
for
correct
Oppenheimer.
answer.
I think I'm seeing Barbie tomorrow though. Haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, but I'm prioritizing Barbie. I'll say
See?
that.
There's
guess
your actual answer.
The most accurate answer for me is that I'm probably not going to go through either door because I just don't generally
Jesse
watch
said he'd do a
movies.
3-hour movie. I would do anything to walk into a movie theater and the only person there being Jesse alone watching Barbie. That would be
But
amazing.
not
Are
just
they-
watching it with all the merch
big-
that you can
oh,
get.
yeah,
The pink
he's
car
wearing pink. He's got
with
a big
with the
popcorn, yeah,
popcorn
yep.
in the trunk and the beach ball cup. Yeah,
He
One
drove
of these
in a pink
movies
Jeep.
3 hours long.
the Oppenheimer.
yeah.
Barbie's 4
I
hours
regret
long.
everything. Oh no.
You've walked through the door now. You got to watch it.
No, I didn't walk through the door. That's just the door I would walk through if I was held at gunpoint and had to walk through one of the
I
doors.
mean, to be fair, so like, because Totree's saying this, I love baseball, but you do watch baseball. It's not like this is not like you're watching something boring. Like it's a form of entertainment too. It's watching.
He's not interested. It's
3
not
hours of
baseball.
entertainment.
It's not baseball,
with
so
the
he's not
pitch clock.
interested.
With
Yeah.
the pitch clock, that's just false.
like you saying
That's
that like you
12
haven't been
innings.
watching baseball for years before that without the
Right.
pitch clock when games were 4 hours long.
That's right.
And
Which, again, I was
baseball
doing
games
too.
are just entertaining. Movies just
Okay,
aren't.
okay. As I just wanted to get to the
That's all
root
I
of
have
it.
to say.
Okay.
I'm so glad I don't do this show alone with him anymore because I need other people to experience this with me. All right. Well, speaking of going to baseball games over movies, if you do that and you're like Jesse, you should buy your tickets through Game Time because, of course, Game Time is the best place to get last minute deals on tickets, whether it's for concerts, shows, movies. No, they don't have movies, but they do have all sorts of events. So make sure to check out Game Time, especially if you are a procrastinator like all three of us are. You can get it last minute ticket deals on the fastest growing ticket app in the country. And of course, snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And they really do have some great ticket deals over there at Game Time. I have set up several accounts. Also, check out Illegal Pete's. It's the best place to go this summer for patio beers, which, I mean, I know that sounds crazy in this heat, but Pete's has you covered. Their patio is an amazing place to be out there in Tempe. They have margaritas, and of course, they have all sorts of wonderful happy hour deals. So make sure to check that out. Their full menu includes bowls, tacos, salads, burritos, nachos, and so much more. And they also have a full bar with custom cocktails and beers. So make sure to check out Illegal Pete's. It's your go-to spot this summer. Kick back and enjoy an ice-cold margarita or cool off with a bucket of high noons. 5 high noons for just $22. And don't forget to follow Illegal Pete's on Instagram. Stay updated on all of their big events and deals going down this summer. Stay tuned on their stories to win free tickets to the concerts you are dying to see. Illegal Pete's is here to make this summer one for the books. And make sure to not miss out on all of that great stuff. You can make sure to join us tonight, speaking of great stuff, at Chase Field for our takeover. We are going to be out there. We are meeting up at Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, and there's a few tickets left. So make sure to grab those and join us if you are interested. And we will have another one next month. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that as well. But in the meantime, follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. This maniac next to me is at Shawn _
Marcos, to
DePaz.
answer your question, Pete's Fish, you just ruined my day because now I want Pete's so bad. Pete's Fish and Chips
Oh.
go stupid.
Never been there.
Oh, it goes
You've never
stupid,
been to
dude.
Pete's Fish and Chips.
Oh
Really?
my god, the
Yeah.
fish is so salty and crispy. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's
I
really
love
good.
Pete's Fish and
It's
Chips,
really
dog.
good.
I also
my
love
bro-
Filiberto's.
My brother
It's not a price.
used to work at Pete's Fish and Chips when I was younger, and he would bring
Cash
home
only.
he'd bring home
The sauce.
no, he'd bring home the leftovers from
Their
work.
sauce is also crazy,
And
man.
the tartar sauce, it's incredible.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, not
We're
the tartar
doing,
sauce.
we're
They're
doing
like
an
special
ad for
dip
Pete's
sauce.
Fish and Chips right now, and I don't think they're paying
Hey,
us
yo,
for this.
Max, get on the phone.
Max, I'm telling he's doing an ad again for
Get
a
on the
thing
phone.
we're not doing anyway. You can yell at him on Twitter again, Shawn_DePaz. Jesse will never do an ad that's unpaid for. He's at Jesse N. Friedman. The maniac
That
behind
is
the Mac
so not
this
true.
week. I
Do
know.
you know how many
Saudi
unpaid
going
for ads I've
RAV4
done?
commercials he's done.
He's never received a dime from Toyota. The maniac behind the Mac this week is none other than Faj. You can follow him at Jacob_Franklin4. Got it. But of course, none of that matters. The thing that matters is following us over at PHNX D-backs. And of course, following PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're also on Threads and other stuff, but we're not going down that path just yet. We're not ready to abandon the X or whatever Twitter's calling itself right now. But in the meantime, make sure to root on the Diamondbacks, and let's hope that Merrill Kelly can get things back on track for this team tonight. Again, we will be there bringing all the luck we can. So we hope to see you guys out there. Until then, we thank you for joining us. We thank you so much for watching. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you actually make a move at the trade deadline.